Hello, my name is Ken, and I want to welcome you back to Deep Waters. This podcast is brought to you by Applied Strengths Ministry, where we believe working together in our strengths is the effective working out the will and calling of God in our lives. The title of this message is, This Woman Had Issues. Oh no, I'm not looking for a poke in the eye with a gender-laden stick, so look before you seek to comment. This is a two-part series, and this is one of two for you. So in Mark 25:36, we see a high-risk event playing out, along with great faith. Now I intend to break the scripture down, line by line, so as to provide provocative prose to the listener. You can read the scripture in its entirety to capture the entire moment of the story. I would recommend that you put yourself in her shoes while reading this. Your issue of blood could be defined in some other problem, but nonetheless, you can still feel like, in your current situation, you are bleeding out while paying for someone to put a tourniquet around your neck promising the cure. Mark 5:25. Now a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years. I don't know about you, but the fear of bleeding out, back in the day when trauma centers and emergency rooms did not exist, were real. Everyday real for this woman. This was not a short-term issue. Not 12 hours, not 12 days, not 12 weeks, which by now, we would have lost half the church if they had the same things going on. Not 12 months, which would have closed the doors, but 12 years, 144 months. Imagine standing next to your 12-year-old kid and thinking about all the opportunities to grow that it took to get them to that age. A lot can happen in 12 years, in addition to those trying times. This woman was a human going through human, that is, women-human issues of life, in addition to the issue of blood. She had also gained the illustrious title of unclean, which came with no benefits or entitlements. If you have ever found yourself saying in your circumstances that nobody gets what you are going through, perhaps she can speak to that. Verse 26, and had suffered many things from many physicians. Have you ever gone to the people person who was supposed to be the expert in a matter, only to be entirely frustrated that you are paying them to hurt you as they practice their craft? This leads to hopelessness, and if you are blessed, to great faith and dependency on the only one who can heal painlessly. She had spent all that she had. Are you broke yet because of your addiction? Has your divorce cost you everything yet? Did your retirement take up wings and fly south forever? Perhaps a market crash on Wall Street was your finances and job hitting a wall, or should I say a bull. Keep in mind, there were the days when Visa and Amex did not exist. Going into debt was difficult in those days for a woman who was known to be sick and broke, and was no better but rather grew worse. Have your efforts led to failure? Have you gone to the doctor one way and came out another? I had a friend who went in to see a doctor due to some leg pain. He went in walking and came out in a chair absent of a limb, only later to find out that the removal of the appendage was not necessary for his issue. In verse 27, it states, when she heard about Jesus. So in the realm of faith, it takes listening ears to hope in a hopeless situation. I guess she had friends provide her all kinds of advice and drop names of people that they just knew could fix her condition. But what was in her to cause her to listen to the buzz of the crowds as Jesus was entering into town? Back in the day when Elvis walked out on the stage, the people in attendance would practically lose their minds, and he just sang and danced to a new tune. But this was a guy who had a healing reputation, and we know that she knew this because of her response to his presence. She came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. I know that shame is a powerful inhibitor, causing many of us to miss out on the solution to our immediate problem. She felt at this time that in order for her to get to him, she had to sneak up on him. What level of faith did it take her to approach a man such as this? It was prohibited for her to do so. So what was in her to approach the crowd, which no doubt included other men? Some of them may have even been Pharisees, who were the law police. It was prohibited for her to do so. What was racing through her mind as she was in a knowing public, as news traveled fast and no doubt, even the mules and frogs knew of her condition? Touch a man, let alone this one, and to do so while in your days of impurity. No, wait, years of impurity. It was unlawful for her to do so. No more resources, unclean title, hostile environment, breaking a manner of spiritual law. Did she have anything to lose at this point? Dignity? A good name? A job or career? Her medical insurance? What's left for you to lose before you climb up the vine of hope and healing? So in her case, we see that had Jesus been alone walking down the road, she never would have been able to sneak up on him nor approach him from any angle. Funny how the knowing crowd had actually provided her an opportunity to touch him. And though she was fearful and no doubt shameful of her condition, she used the very thing that labeled her unclean to get free. And of the many, many voices in her head shouting for her to get out of there before her presence is made known, she says, "If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well." Mic drop. You see, she wasn't talking to anyone else saying, "Hey, if I can just touch him, I am sure I will be made well." She was hiding in plain sight. Perhaps in her thoughts, maybe she whispered under her breath these faithful, drawing words. She unintentionally set herself up to be a straw that would draw out the healing power from God in the flesh, from the one who breathed into her nostrils the breath of life. She discovered, touched the man of men, and boom. Verse 29, immediately the fountain of her blood was dried up. Okay, so the body responded to her faith and touch, not just to her faith, nor just to a touch. As we know, many were rubbing shoulders with the man, God Jesus. So get this. At this point in time, there was nothing left for her to do, as her body was now making the adjustments it was required to do in the presence of God. She didn't have to try and talk herself into believing that she was healed. She didn't have to begin worrying that if she lost faith, she would go back to flowing. Nope. She had to receive the reaction of her body to the touch of his garment. At that moment, she put on Christ. She exchanged her garment for his. She was now hemmed together with him. No pain, no price to pay, no insurance card, no waiting 12 hours in the emergency room for an e-temp check. Simply put, if I can be simple, is that her body responded to heaven walking around on earth. And she felt in her body that she was healed of the affliction. She believed the stories about a man who could heal people, and she took from him the power necessary for healing. She noticed a difference. She knew that the devil was a liar and no more in control of her blood. She was now under the blood that saves and heals us. Little did she know at the time her blood stopped flowing, his would have to flow, that all who believed could be saved and delivered of their afflictions. Well, this seems like a good place to take leave of this story. We want to see how this ends and how it bodes well of us to see the entirety of the message so that we can go deeper in our relationship with God. Remember, it's not what you find wrong with or disagree with regarding these messages, but what you can take away from it. Together we can do more to impact the kingdom than if we work alone. Let's flip the script and kill, steal, and destroy the work of the enemy and create space for the light of lights to shine through into people's lives. Plant a seed and click on the like and subscribe button. Let's build this ministry together. Thank you and see you next time in Deep Waters.